Issue Template Type B. Politics. Which is more desirable, pursuing ideals or pursuing a reasonable consensus? Some people contend that pursuing ideals is the favorable attitude for politicians, whereas others argue that politics based upon a reasonable consensus is more desirable. Admittedly, both ideas are equally important, and in fact, history informs us that these two approaches are mutually exclusive. However, as far as politics in today's America is concerned, I believe that the deployment of politics within the domain of reasonable consensus is more crucial. The chief reason for my assertion lies in the evolutionary nature of American politics. If we analyze how politics in our country has evolved, we would have a certain level of agreement that today's political system is much more efficient than the quasi-politics that formed at the very beginning of American history. In such a society where every conceivable thing was unstable and far away from ideals, pursuing ideals is the only viable political approach. However, our society has evolved and come to the point where we have achieved what we can, and any deviations from the current political system may cause confusion rather than improvement. As a matter of fact, can we name anything that is deemed ideal, yet contrary to a society's consensus? I cannot name even one, as most of us cannot, and this is rather natural because through the course of political and economical evolution, ideals held by citizens have already materialized or been achieved, and they have now become the consensus. Let us clarify this point by using several examples. The first example is the establishment of independency. As is widely known, the history of America cannot be fully explained without war. Aside from whether each war and the tactics deployed in the war were justifiable or not, it is certain that under such unstable circumstances, people wished it would be ideal if we could live in a society where we do not have to worry about winning independence and being invaded. However, what were ideal circumstances decades ago have come to be the reality. We do not have to fight for independence, nor are we obliged to expand national territory. Unless the opinion given by the vast majority of population demands, i.e., a consensus, do we have to start a new war? The answer is no. The second example is the fight against racism. Racism has always existed in America, and a certain proportion of people still have some prejudice against a certain race. A consensus tells us that racism is thought to be one of the most inhumane notions, and in fact, politicians have established laws that indict racism or any kinds of race-based segregation. In the final analysis, I would like to emphasize the examples above are not oversimplifications. These examples simply manifest the fact that primitive politics has grown to be modern politics. Simply put, our form of society is stable as it is, fulfilling a large part of citizens' consensus. On the contrary, pursuing political ideals would mean that we must change or alter the current political approach, to which there is no guarantee that what awaits us is the anticipated improvement, but not deterioration or confusion. As far as politics in today's America is concerned, I strongly insist that politics based upon a reasonable consensus is more desirable for the reasons discussed above. This is not to deny the claim that pursuing ideals is meaningless. In fact, if a consensus points towards the necessity for radical changes in politics, we must pursue the ideals. Yet, it must be noted that in this case too, the pursuit of ideals is embraced when and only when it is in agreement with a consensus. In our current society, where politicians represent all citizens, it is important that each politician learn the importance of a consensus. Bereft of the consideration for consensus, no concrete political achievement can be established.